and privileged to welcome our resource person and also our crash course series guider today, Mr. Jadhav sir. He completed his M.Com in Advanced Accountancy and pursuing PhD from Mumbai University. He is the Assistant Professor in Saket College of Arts and Commerce and Science. He is working since 2009, having 13 years of experience teaching all commerce subjects. Sat having experience of presenting paper in many conferences and publication in many national and international level publications. He also worked as an examiner and moderator for TYSY and FI papers. He having many years experience of teaching financial accounts 6. Welcome you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for wonderful introduction. So, good afternoon, everyone. Hello, friends. Today, we will discuss about regarding the financial accounting paper number 6. How to crack the examinations. This lecture helps you how to write the examination and how to crack your paper. Here I'm sharing my screen to you. So once again, I am welcoming all the students which will going to appear for semester 5 examination. Paper 6, you know that there are 5 modules. Module number 1, final account of banking company. Module number 2, final account of insurance company. Module number 3, non-banking financial company. Module number 4, valuation of goodwill and shares. Module number 5, accounting for limited liability partnership. So from all these modules, the university will ask you each question from each module. So here we'll move to one by one module discussion. Before that, we see the paper pattern. If we seen that paper pattern, so here question number 1, we have objective. Question number 2, we have practical questions. Question number 3, again practical questions. Question number 4, again practical questions. Question number 5, theory questions or short notes. Every practical questions you have a option, so you can choose one of. Sometime the university will ask you 15 marks question, practical question divided into 8 or 7 marks pattern. So in module number 1, as we know that final account of banking company. In that final account of banking company, we have to study about the Banking Regulation Act, then statutory reserve, cash reserve, how to calculate the provision for rebate on bill discounts, then financial statement, final accounts in prescribed form, non-performing assets regarding classification of asset advances. As we know, the banking final accounts, as per the Banking Companies Act 1949, under that section 29, Form A represent the balance sheet, and section 29, Form B represent the profit and loss account. In this module, the university can be asked 3 types of question. One is for rebate on bill discounted, Another one is for computing the provision on advances and final accounts, either balance sheet or profit and loss account. Sometimes it can be asked combined problem also, profit and loss account and balance sheet. As you know that banking sector, it's a very huge sector. Banks dealing all the financial, lending the money, deposits, all these parts. So statutory reserve, as per the section 17 of the Banking Regulation Act, the every banking must be transfer their 25% of its profit to statutory reserve. If the question it's a silent, the student must be transfer 25% reserve to statutory reserve. Regarding statutory liquid ratio on cash reserve ratio, so sometime it will be created by the bank as per the RBI's Act 1934 under section 42. So statutory liquidity ratio 21.5%, it's applicable to net liabilities. And as per section 42 subsection 7 CRR, it's created the 4%, which is effective from January 29, 2014. Dear friends, the many time objective question will comes, which form is applicable for preparing the balance sheet of banking company? So form A as per section 29. Or sometime they will ask you the how much percentage of profit transfer to statutory reserve. So 25%. Some short notes will arise here. Inter-office adjustment. So many times banking close their financial statement on 31st March, but it can't be possible to finalize the balance sheet. So some amount must be adjusted, and that amount, it's an inter-office adjustment, would be shown under other assets if it is debit balance, and if it is credit balance, so it will shows under other liabilities. Now, one of the important part, rebate on bill discounted. Sometime university will ask you the question on rebate on bill discounted, calculate the provision on rebate on bill discounted for 7 or 8 marks. So at that time, you must be find out in the question due date is given or not. So if due date is not given, so you must be calculate the due date. Now, how the due date must be calculated? The due date must be calculated, date of bill, and add your period. You will get one date. That date is called nominal date, and thereafter add 3 days grace period. Then you will get due date, and thereafter you find out the number of days after the 31st March. How many number of days after the 31st March? And then can apply the percentage rate of discount and find the provision for rebate on bill discounted. Sometime if the university asks 15 marks question, so that time they will ask the general entry, rebate on bill discounted calculation with general entry. So there are 3 general entries. One is opening balance of rebate bill discounted transferred to discount on bills account. So entry is very simple, rebate on bill discounted account debit to discount on bills account. Then second entry is for provision. So when we calculate provision, rebate on bill discounted, so entry will be discount on bills account debit to rebate on bill discounted. And third, the balance of discount on bills transferred to profit and loss account. That entry is discount on bills account debit to profit and loss account. So these 3 entry, one is opening balance, second entry for provision, and third entry for balance of discount transfer to profit and loss account. Dear friends, here objective will arise, balance on discount of bills transferred to dash account. So answer will be profit and loss account. Now, how to calculate the balance? Balance of discount on bill transferred to profit and loss account. How it is calculated that? Now, how it is calculated that? Discount on bills received, which is already given into the question. Then add opening balance on rebate on bill discounting. This amount is already given into the question. And less provision for rebate on bill discounted. It means you have to deduct your provision amount, which is you calculated already. And then finally, you will get balance of discount on bills transferred to profit and loss account. So sometime university question will ask you rebate on bill discount. Now another practical question they may be asked on classification of advances, standard, substandard, doubtful, provisions. So in banking advances, there will be two types of advances. One is performing assets, another one is non-performing assets. If any advances delay the payment more than 3 months, that type of assets will goes under non-performing assets. So sometime the university will ask you the question, calculate the provisions for non-performing assets. So asset classification, there are 4 major classification. One is standard assets, another one is substandard assets, then doubtful assets and loss assets. For regarding standard assets, we have small, medium enterprises and agriculture, 0.25%. Then commercial, residential purpose, we have 0.75% we have to calculate. Commercial purpose, 1%. And for other, we have to calculate 0.40%. In substandard assets, if the portion secured, so we calculate 15% provision. And if the portion unsecured, we calculate 25%. Regarding doubtful assets, again 2 categories is there. One is secured and another one is unsecured. In that secured, as per the RBI, up to 1 year, we calculate 25% provision. 1 to 3 years, 40%. More than 3 years, 100%. If your asset, doubtful asset, unsecured, so provision 100%. And finally, loss assets, it's 100%. So sometime the university will ask you the question for 7 or 8 marks. Then we'll move to our prescribed format of balance sheet. As we already told, section 29 under form A, the balance sheet format is there. As per the Banking Regulation Act, there are 12 schedules in banking balance sheet. So objective question will arise, how many schedules in banking balance sheet? There are 12 schedules in banking balance sheet. If you seen that, you remember that all the schedules, because many objectives question will comes from this. Sometimes they will ask you, what is the name for schedule 9? Or what is the name for schedule 3? So if you see the balance sheet, capital and liabilities, 5 schedules are covered, and assets remaining 7 schedules are covered. So we'll move to profit and loss account format, that is form B. In that profit and loss account, again 4 schedules, continuation form, 12 schedule completed in balance sheet, and continue to next profit and loss account, that is income part, schedule 13 and 14, that is interest earned, other income, and expenditure, interest expended and operating expenses, schedule number 59, 60. So from your income, you can deduct your expenditure. You will get profit for the year. You have to add that opening balance of profit and loss account. And from that profit, you will less your appropriation. Some type 25% you must be transferred to statutory reserve, transferred to other reserves, transferred to government or proposed dividend, and some balance is remaining. That balance carry forward to balance sheet. So these are the schedule which is I already shown in my PPT. Schedule number 1, 2, 3. So in your banking final accounts, it's totally depends on format. My dear friends, if you done the format properly, so you will get 15 out of 15. But you must be manage time also, because within a 2.5 hours, we have to complete all 5 questions. So these are the schedules. So you must be practice all the practical questions regarding banking final accounts. You must be practice balance sheet. You must be practice profit and loss. If the suppose university want to check student know all 12 schedules or not, so they will ask the balance sheet and or profit and loss account. Means 15 marks balance sheet question they will ask, or profit and loss account for 15 marks. So you must be practice. See, practice makes a perfect, my dear students. Without practice, we can't write account. So account करना है तो आपको practice करना है, right? Now we'll move to next module, that is again final account of insurance company. Again depends on prescribed format. So university will ask you again 15 marks question from this module. One short notes or one theory question will ask from this module also, and 2 or 3 marks objective they will ask. Every module, if you seen that every module, 15 marks practical questions, 1 short notes or theory questions, and 2 or 3 marks objective. If you seen that insurance company final account, as you know that insurance, so it is very necessary for today's time, because without insurance we can't proceed the claim if anything happen into the business. So in this topic we have to see that how to prepare the different financial statement of insurance company. If you seen that broadly classification of insurance, so it's a general insurance and life insurance. For your syllabus, marine insurance and fire insurance are there. So question will be asked on marine insurance or fire insurance. Sometimes they will ask combined question also, marine and fire, साथ में भी question पूछ सकते हैं. So objectives, sometimes they will ask which act which applicable. So insurance company 1938, general insurance business 1972, and insurance regulatory and development authority IRD. So these are the important acts for preparing the final accounts of insurance company. Now there are financial statements, which is revenue accounts, and that revenue accounts prepare as per the form P dash RA. Many time objective question will ask you, for the purpose of revenue account, which form is applicable? So form B dash RA, and for profit and loss account B dash PL, and for balance sheet B dash BS. If you see in that revenue account, so in that revenue accounts, one part is income part, another part is expense part. And in that income and expense, we must be prepared for schedule. In that income part, insurance premium earned, that is the schedule number 1. Profit or loss on sale of or redemption of investment. If any other incomes, so it should be written into others. And interest and dividend and rent, it's shown gross. If you deducted your income tax deducted on source, so it will show net. So expense side, that is clean incurred as per the schedule number 2. Commission, schedule number 3. Operating expenses related to business, schedule number 4. From that total A, that is income, minus total B, that is expenses, you will get one profit. That profit is called operating profit or loss from fire or marine insurance. And from that profit, you have to deduct some appropriation, transfer to shareholders, transfer to Catasaurus reserve, transfer to other reserves. So you must remember that format. And the 15 marks question, the university will ask you on that basis, you are required to prepare a revenue accounts. These 4 schedules, now we'll see these schedules 1. So schedule 1 regarding premium earn. In that premium earn, in our question, premium from direct business is already given into the question. Then add premium on reinsurance accepted. Many times in question, accepted is not given, receivable is given. So remember that, student. If premium on reinsurance receivable, it means accepted. Less premium on reinsurance ceded. Many time in question given to premium on reinsurance payable. So my dear student, if premium on reinsurance payable is there, it means ceded. So accepted we have to add and ceded we have to deduct. From that add less, we'll get one amount, that is total premium. Sometime in question, outstanding is given. Working note part we shown here. Sometime outstanding is given. Outstanding for direct business, outstanding for reinsurance acceptance, outstanding for reinsurance ceded. That time, my dear student, always keep in your mind, if there is a closing outstanding, you must be add. And if it is an opening outstanding, it must be deduct. So remember that closing outstanding है तो वो आपको add करना है. अगर opening outstanding है, so it must be deduct. Then in your schedule 1, there is a adjustment for changes in reserve for unexpired risks. Many students make mistake here because they are confusing. Either we add or less. And what about the unexpired risks? We seen in next slide. So unexpired risks, my dear students, if in a future anything happens, we don't know in future what will happen. So the company has to decide to create every year certain amount from the net premium. And that amount is called as unexpired reserve risks. So provision for unexpired reserve risks should be 100% of the net premium in case of marine insurance. If your question asks on marine insurance, my dear student, so 100% premium, 100% unexpired risk reserve must be taken. And if any other business like fire, any other general business, so you can calculate 50% provision for unexpired risk reserve. So sometime objective will ask on marine insurance dash percentage of net premium charge 100%, and for fire insurance 50%. So keep in your mind or note it down. Surely the objective question will ask or match the following or true or false. Now many students make mistake how to calculate that. See, there is a format for calculation or adjustment for changes in reserve for unexpired risks. So opening provision which is given already into the question, opening provisions आपके क्वेश्चन में दिया जाएगा, and in that opening provision some opening balances of unexpired reserve risks we called as a normal provision, and some additional provision will be there. So both are the given into the question, and from that we can deduct our closing provision. And closing provision, again we have to charge nominal provision on net premium. Net premium. And if my business is fire insurance, so 50% of the net premium. And if my business is marine insurance, so 100% of the net premium. Then sometime in question additional provision also asks. So specific percentage is given into the question, and that percentage must be charged on net premium. And finally, you will get one amount. That amount we called as a changes in unexpired reserve risks. If your amount comes the positive, if your amount comes the positive, so it will add to your net premium amount under schedule number 1. And if it is come into negative, so it will be deduct from net premium. Now here many students start with closing provision. Many students calculate with closing provision. From that closing provision, they have to minus opening provision. In that case, my dear student, if your amount will come negative, you will be add. And if your amount will become positive, you will be deduct. When your starting point is closing provision. And if your starting point is opening provision, so if your positive amount, you will be add, and if it is negative, you will be deduct from net premium, which is shown under schedule number 1. Then we'll move to schedule number 2, claim incurred. Here, claim from direct business, which is already given to question. Again, add claim on reinsurance accepted. My dear friend, don't be confused premium and claim. See here, claim on reinsurance accepted. Sometime in question, claim on reinsurance payable is given. That means payable here accepted. In case of premium, payable is ceded. So don't be confused that. Lease claim on reinsurance ceded. Sometime in question, they will given to you receivable. So here receivable means ceded. And outstanding is given as earlier I told you. If the closing outstanding, you must be add. And if the opening outstanding, you must be deduct. So you must be practice. Without practice, we can't solve the paper. Now, schedule 3 commission. Commission, again same commission from direct business, which is given into the question. Add commission on reinsurance accepted, that means payable, less commission on reinsurance ceded, receivable, that means net commission will arrive. Then schedule 4, operating expenses, here employee remuneration and welfare benefits, travels, conveyance and vehicle running expenses, training expenses, rent, rate and taxes, repairs, sometime management expenses. So the expenses which is related to insurance, which comes here, operating expenses. Now we'll move to profit and loss account. After preparing your revenue account, sometime university asks the question, you are required to prepare revenue accounts and profit and loss accounts. So after preparing revenue accounts, then you'll move to profit and loss account. The form B-PL, objective question, remember that. So here again, expense parts, income parts. Total A shows the income parts, total B shows the expense part. Now operating profit, it comes from your revenue accounts. आपके revenue accounts का जो operating profit रहेगा वो यहाँ पे आपको लेके आना. फिर वो फायर इंश्योरेंस का हो सकता है, मरीन इंश्योरेंस का, either fire insurance or marine insurance. Then income from investments. Under that, interest, dividend and rent, gross profit on sale of investment. If there is a loss, you can deduct. And other income, if any, specified. Then expense side, provisions other than taxation. If any changes, if the company done the investments and that investment as per the market value, there should be a difference. So that value shown under here, changes of the value of investments. Then doubtful debts, others, expenses other than related to insurance business. Bad debts, if it is written off, then show, and others. After deducting income minus expense, you will get profit before tax. And from that profit before tax, you will charge provision for tax. You will get profit after tax. And from that profit after tax, you have to less appropriation. And finally, the balance is remaining, that balance transferred to your balance sheet under the Schedule 2 reserves and surplus. Here, balance sheet as per the form B-BS. We called as a liability side, here insurance company, we say that sources of funds, and assets, they will called as application of fund. In that sources of fund, share capital, reserves and surplus, fair value change, and borrow. So if you see that insurance company final account, total 15 schedules are there. Objective question will arise. How many schedules in insurance company final accounts? 15. 4 for revenue accounts and remaining 11 for balance sheet. There is no schedules for profit and loss accounts under the insurance companies. So both the modules depends on format. My dear friends, both the modules depends on format. If you go through thoroughly the formats, you will get 15 out of 15 marks with practice and time management. Without practice, without time management, we can't cover our paper. So we'll move to next module, non-banking financial company. From this topic, the university will ask sometime 7 or 8 marks question, or sometime they will ask mostly theory questions from this topic. If you see in last three papers, they never ask the practical question on from this topic. But university have a rights to ask the practical question from this topic also. And practical questions based on the nominal provisions. How to calculate the capital equity ratio, all these parts. Sometimes the university will ask you the theory questions for 7 or 8 marks regarding distinguish between banking companies and non-banking financial companies. So sometimes they will ask you write a short notes also. Write a short notes on non-banking financial company. So be prepared that distinguish between 7 or 8 marks for your examination also. Sometimes the question will arise, explain the types of non-banking financial companies in short notes or theory question. So these two questions you must be prepared for your coming examination. If they will ask the practical question, अगर वो practical question पूछना चाह रहे हैं, so they will ask how to calculate the own fund and net own fund. Here in my PPT format is given to you. Equity share capital, add free reserves, less if any losses, less if any deferred expenses, less any intangible assets, you will get own fund. From that, you will deduct your excess advances and investment. For net own funds, that is tier 1, we called as a capital employed. So university can ask the question for 7 or 8 marks from this calculation part. But if you see in past 3 papers, they never ask from practical question from this module. But we ignore that. You can solve the 7 or 8 marks question, that is the own fund, net own fund, calculating the capital employed, non-convertible preference share, add the revaluation reserve, add capital reserve. So you can do theory question as well as some small question from this topic. Then how to calculate the capital to risk weighted ratio. Every non-banking financial companies to prudential norms is applicable, minimum 15%. So there is a formula which is calculated for the capital to risk asset ratio. Now, sometimes small question will arise here, and that question it's calculating for the provision for advances of non-banking financial companies. You must be remember that the percentage for calculating the provision for non-banking companies. These are the provisions which is shown in my PPT also. So one request to you, you must be practiced, because accountancy subject without practice, we can't complete the paper, my dear student. Now we'll move to next module. That module, valuation of goodwill and shares. This module, again, the university will ask you 15 marks question, or they will ask you 8 marks question. 8 marks calculation of goodwill, 7 marks calculation of shares. Or combine goodwill and shares for 15 marks. This topic, my dear student, is totally based on formulas. Totally based on formulas. So if you follow these steps, follow the methods, including with formulas, always you can easily find out the value of goodwill and value of shares. Here, valuation of goodwill, as per your syllabus, you have future maintainable profit methods, super profit methods, capitalization methods. Sometimes the question will ask you annuity method. But if the university will ask you the question for 8 or 7 marks, so they will ask super profit method or capitalization. And regarding valuation of shares, there are 3 methods for valuing of shares: intrinsic value method, yield method, fair value. Now we will discuss one by one here. Valuation of goodwill, average or future maintainable profit method, super profit method, capitalization. Simple or average of or future maintainable profit method on the basis of number of years purchase. So in this method, you have followed the simple 2 steps. Step 1, calculate the average profit, or we called as a future maintainable profit. By using the formula, average profit is equal to total profit divided by number of years. And after getting the average profit or future maintainable profit, you follow the step 2, calculate the goodwill, and for that purpose of goodwill, formula is average profit or future maintainable profit multiplied by number of year purchase. So many students make mistake here, where number of year, right? If in the question last 5 years profits are given to you, and when the student calculate the goodwill, they multiply with 5 years. Don't do this type of mistake. In a question, they clear-cut mention, calculate or value the goodwill 3 years purchase on future maintainable profit method or average profit method. वहां पे दिया रहेगा कि कितने साल के लिए गुडविल हम परचेस कर रहे हैं, वैल्यूज कर रहे हैं. Then super profit method of goodwill on the basis of number of years purchase. So in this method, you have follow the 4 steps. Number 1 step, that is calculate average profit or future maintainable profit by using the formula. Average profit is equal to total profit divided by number of years. Then step 2, my dear students, you must be find out the normal profit. And normal profit, for calculating the normal profit, we have to apply formula capital employee multiplied by NRR, that is called normal rate of return, divided by 100. Sometimes capital employed directly is not given, you must be calculated that by using the formula. Step number 3, calculate super profit. So formula is very simple. Step number 1 answer minus step number 2 answer. That is average profit or future maintainable profit minus normal profit. Step number 4, calculate goodwill. And for the purpose of valuing the goodwill under the super profit, that is goodwill is equal to super profit multiplied by number of years purchase. So every step connected with each other. Step number 1 and 2 is connected with step number 3. And step number 3 is connected with your step number 4. So that topic is based on formulae. So you must be remember all these formulae, because many times the question will ask on 8 or 7 marks on goodwill. This time also the university will ask question on goodwill, either 15 marks or 7 or 8 marks. We'll move to capitalization method. Now, when into the question, mention it capitalization method, value the goodwill on the basis of capitalization method. So that time you must be find out step number 1, valuation of business. And for the purpose of valuing the business, my dear student, you must be calculate your future maintainable profit. And for that future maintainable profit multiplied by 100 divided by NRI, you will get the value of business. And after getting the value of business, you must be find out the value of goodwill. So value of goodwill, it's equal to value of business minus your net tangible assets. If the into question will ask you calculate the goodwill on the basis of capitalization method on the basis of super profit, so you must be follow all 4 steps for calculating the super profits, average profits, normal profit, then super profit. After getting the super profit, step 4 for capitalization value of goodwill on the basis of super profit, the formula is super profit multiplied by 100 divided by NRI. So this topic is totally depends on formulas. You must be remember that formula. You can easily get 15 or 7 or 8 marks. Now the question will arise regarding the valuation of shares. Again, valuation of shares, my dear students, there are 3 methods of valuing the shares. One is intrinsic value method, which is called as different name, assets backing method, real value method, balance sheet method, breakup value method, many names for this method. But most of the time they will call as intrinsic value method. For the purpose of valuing the shares on the basis of intrinsic value of, so you must be calculate the amount available to equity shareholder. Step number 1, that is calculate the amount available to equity shareholder. And for the purpose of value or amount available to equity shareholder, we follow the format that is agreed value of assets minus agreed value of liabilities. Now here agreed value of asset, most of the students confusing here which is the agreed value and which is the book value. My dear student, क्वेश्चन के बैलेंस शीट के अंदर जो वैल्यू दिया है वो बुक वैल्यूज होते हैं और क्वेश्चन के नीचे बैलेंस शीट के नीचे जो इंफॉर्मेशन दिए जाते हैं उसमें जो वैल्यूज होते हैं उसको हम एग्रीड वैल्यूज कहते हैं. सो हियर एग्रीड वैल्यूज माइनस agreed value of assets minus agreed value of liabilities. Then you will get net assets. From that net assets, you will less your preference capital. And if any calls in areas, you will add back. So you will get amount available to equity shareholder. Then step number 2, valuing the intrinsic value of equity share. Easy formula must be applicable. Your step number answer, that is amount available to equity shareholder divided by number of shares. So remember that formula. Sometime objective question will ask you how to calculate value of equity shares, or formula they will ask you intrinsic value of equity share is equal to dash divided by number of shares. So your answer will be amount available to equity shareholder. Now we'll move to second method, that is yield value method. In this yield value, we have to follow 3 steps. One is you must be calculate profit available for equity shareholder. In that profit available for equity shareholder, you must be follow this format. Average profit for after tax. From that you have to deduct your reserve, less your dividend. You will get profit available to equity shareholder. Then we'll move to step number 2. My dear students, step number 2, it depends on your step number 1. Because if you not get profit available to equity shareholder, we can't calculate the rate of dividend. So here rate of dividend formula is rate of available for equity shareholder divided by equity share capital multiplied by 100. Step 3, calculate the yield value of shares. Here, the formula for yield value of shares, my dear students, again, step number 2 is connected with step number 3, rate of dividend divided by NRR, normal rate of return, multiplied by paid up value of shares. So these 3 simple steps you have to follow and calculate the yield value. Then valuation of share on the basis of fair value. That is the third method, तीसरा method. Sometimes 15 marks question they will ask you calculate the fair value. ऐसा question पूछा गया. Calculate the fair value. It means you must be calculate intrinsic value. You must be calculate yield value, and then finally you will calculate fair value. So fair value, it is a combination of 2 values divided by 2. That is average of combination of intrinsic value and yield value. The formula is very simple. Fair value is equal to intrinsic value plus yield value divided by 2. So I am again saying that module will comes 15 or 8 or 7 marks practical question, 1 theoretical question, theory question, that is 7 or 8 marks, or short notes will come. In that short note, sometime they will ask you write a steps for calculating the goodwill on the basis of super profit method. Sometime they will ask you write down the steps for super profit method, write down the steps for yield value method. All these parts, right? Now we'll move to next module and the last module. That module is accounting for limited liability partnership. My dear student, this module is again based on format, and it's again easy because you already done at many final accounts related with sole proprietor business, related with partnership business. Same here, your partnership, it's converting or transferring business to the limited liability. The mostly it will call as LLP. The objective question is arise, which act will be applicable for LLP? That is LLP Act 2008 objective question आपको पूछा जा सकता है. Now, theoretical part, sometime they will ask the distinguish between limited liability partnership and partnership firm for 7 or 8 marks. If 7 or 8 marks comes, you will write 7 or 8 points or 10 points. If 5 marks question will ask, you will write 5 to 7 points. Sometimes they will ask private company, public company, distinguish between. Sometimes they will ask write a short notes on limited liability partnership. And one question, practical question will ask on preparation of final accounts. And that final accounts is again very simple because only format, just like as a posting of your 12th standard. Just you must be post your all the items which is given into the trial balance of partnership. Here the prescribed format which is given into the act. Again, 2 parts. One is called contribution and liabilities, and another one is called assets. My dear students, contribution and liabilities, it's again broadly divided into 1 partners fund and 2nd liabilities. In that partners fund, contribution received, reserves and surplus, Now contribution received, just like your partner's capital. Reserves and surplus, all the reserves will comes here, including your profit and loss accounts. Then in liabilities, secured loan, unsecured loan, short-term borrowings, creditors, oblique trade payables, other liabilities, if any provisions like a taxation, contingency, insurance, and other provisions. So you follow the format and post all the items which is given into the trial balance. Then you will get easily marks. And always remember that how many postings are correct, you will get marks. So don't be think that हमारा अकाउंट टैली नहीं हुआ तो मार्क्स नहीं मिलेगा. आपके पोस्टिंग्स, आपने जितने भी अमाउंट्स लिखे हैं वो करेक्ट है, पोस्टिंग करेक्ट है, तो आपको मार्क्स मिलेगी. सो डोंट बी थिंक दैट कि मेरा प्रॉब्लम टैली नहीं हुआ मुझे मार्क्स मिलेगा या नहीं, राइट? सो इट्स अ रिक्वेस्ट, यू मस्ट बी पोस्ट ऑल दिस including your time management. Then asset part, that is gross fixed assets less your depreciation. Then net fixed asset, in that investment, loans and advances, inventories, debtors or trade receivable, cash and cash equivalent, and other assets. So follow this format and solve the question based on LLP. Then same profit and loss account format is there. Here income part is there and expense part is. In that income part, there is a gross turnover, domestic turnover. If there is a export, so export turnover is there. And expenses part, raw material consumed, purchase made, resale, consumption store and spare part, power and fuel, administrative expenses, sometime of payment to auditors, all these expenses. So from your incomes minus expense, you will get one profit or loss, that is called net profit or net loss before tax. From that net profit, or you will deduct your provision for tax, then you will get net profit after tax. And if there is a profit transfer to some partners and remaining profit transfer to reserves and surplus. Here, there is a no schedule is required to prepare. So you can just like your 12th standard, you can draw the vertical format and post all the items which is given under trial balance and give the tutu effects for the adjustments. So every topics here we completed. Now finally, I will give you the time management. This is very, very important. Students, हमें लगता है कि मेरी पढ़ाई नहीं हुई, मुझे अकाउंट सॉल्व करने नहीं आ रहा है, मेरा पेपर कैसे कवर होगा. I will give you the tricks and time management for complete the paper and crack the exam. My dear student, this time management, you can follow all accountancy subjects, not for paper 6. You can apply for paper 5 also, taxation also, all the account, cost accounting also. See, here, your examination will start at 10:30 a.m. So you will receive your question paper at 10:30 a.m. So just review the paper, question paper. Review the question paper. Which questions are comes? कौन से questions आए हैं? कौन से question में कौन सा topic आया है? Right? It's not fixed. Right? आएंगे पांचों मॉडल से, सभी मॉडल से क्वेश्चन आएंगे, बट कौन से क्वेश्चन में आया है एंड विच क्वेश्चन यू आर कंफर्टेबल टू सॉल्व. कौन सा क्वेश्चन आप कंफर्टेबली सॉल्व कर सकते हो, उसको टिक करना. इसके लिए आपको 5 मिनट देने, 5 मिनट्स, यानी 10:35 तक. अब किसी का 2 मिनट में हो जाएगा, वेरी गुड, क्योंकि हर एक क्वेश्चन पढ़ना नहीं, कौन से क्वेश्चन में क्या है. अब सिंपल एग्जांपल बोलूं तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 ऑब्जेक्टिव है, उसको देखने की जरूरत नहीं। और क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 तो थ्योरी क्वेश्चन है, यानी वो भी देखने की जरूरत नहीं। नाउ वी विल फोकस ऑन क्वेश्चन नंबर 2, 3 एंड 4। सो 2 में क्या आया है, बैंकिंग आया है या इंश्योरेंस आया है या नॉन बैंकिंग फाइनेंशियल आया है या गुडविल आया है। सो वी कैन सेलेक्ट दैट। If there is a banking final account question, so it will take 40 minutes। 40 minutes के ऊपर मत जाओ, बिकॉज शेड्यूल भी ड्रॉ करने हैं, इसलिए फाइनल अकाउंट ऑफ बैंकिंग को 40 मिनट तक आप समय दे सकते हो। फिर बाकी जो प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस बचे, रिमेनिंग प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस, क्वेश्चन नंबर 3, क्वेश्चन नंबर 4, यू विल गिव 30 मिनट्स। एंड थियरी क्वेश्चन, उसके लिए आप 25 मिनट्स दो। एंड आपका 5 मिनट बचेगा, उस 5 मिनट में आपको क्रॉस चेक करना है, कहीं पे हमारे ऑब्जेक्टिव रह गए क्या, कहीं पे हमारे कुछ टैली करना रह गया है क्या, ये सब आप रिमेनिंग 5 मिनट्स में कर सकते। सो यू मस्ट बी फॉलो। अगर आपको एवरेजली आपने क्वेश्चन टाइमली कंप्लीट किया, टाइम मैनेजमेंट किया, तो मुझे नहीं लगता है कि आप फेल होगे। डेफिनेटली यू विल गेट, थिंक दैट ना, एज एन एवरेजली हर एक क्वेश्चन को आपको 6 मार्क्स भी मिल रहा है एवरेजली। सो it score 30 marks and passing is 30 marks out of 75, right? So you can score these subject, score more, because in that subject, my dear student, there is no general entry part. All are depends on only and only format and formulas. Here my session end. Thank you everyone for S.S.T college giving me this type of opportunities. So, and thank you to all listeners, all students. Thank you for giving your valuable time to me for listening my session. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, sir. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this session. Let me first of all start my giving glory to the Almighty God for making today's occasion a resounding success. First and foremost, thank to our resource person to share his knowledge and guide our students for the university exam. He explained about the format of each module, well explained the marking scheme, chart, Insurance Act about 1938, revenue account chart, reserve for unexpired risk, working note, operating expenses, and differentiation between many questions, which are the expected question for the university exam. Not only that, what are the practical questions, and also importance of goodwill formulas, scoring questions, and examples. What are the important questions students want to cover and revise at the last minute? Everything was explained by sir patiently and slowly, and motivating the students to face the financial accounts 6 examination. Thanks to active students participants who are listening the session, we are always grateful to the guidance from our founder principal, Dr. J. Purushwani sir, and VP and IQSC coordinator, Khushbu ma'am, and other vice principals, faculty members, and our S.S.T team, technical team for the support of conducting all the seminars. Thank you once again to the resource person. Sir, you have not only motivated, you have given the idea for the preparation to the students and also improved the confidence of facing the exam also, giving many tips and tricks. With that, you have given how to manage the exam also, giving the time slot to attend the exam. Thanks from the S.S.T team, sir. And also, I am thanking to the students again. All the best for the preparation and also for the examination from Department of Commerce, Accounts and Finance Department Coordinator Varsha ma'am, Maithili Gauri Shankar, Anil sir, and Anuradha ma'am. Tomorrow we are having taxation for indirect tax session, awaiting, and hope all the students will join tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, sir.